Friends, we have gathered here on this difficult day to celebrate the life of Matthew Ryan Overacker. My name is Kevin Griffin. I serve as one of the pastors here at Grace Church, and my hope and my prayer for you today, for each of you, is that in the midst of grief, you will experience the unconditional love and unlimited peace of God in your heart and in your life. We're here today in a church, in a place of healing and of hope, where it's safe for you to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, where it's safe for you to have whatever question, whatever doubt is on your mind and soul today. You can have that here in this place. May God give us grace, so as we confront death together, we can find resurrection. Let's pray. God, you created us, and you're always more ready to listen than we are to pray. You know what we need even before we ask. Please help us today, because we need you now more than ever. Heal us and set us free. Hold us together when everything seems like it's falling apart. Teach us how to live like people who are prepared to die, so that living or dying, our life may be in you, so that nothing in life or even death itself will be able to separate us from your love. We especially pray today for Matt's mom, Kathy, for his sister, Jennifer, for his brother-in-law, Michael, for his nieces and nephew, especially Alyssa and Brandon, for all of his family, all of his friends who suffer today. Lord, please heal their broken hearts and walk with them in the days ahead. Amen. I want to share with you words from the Scriptures that date back thousands of years that people have turned to again and again for comfort and for hope when they've been confronted by days of darkness and death. It's the words of the 23rd Psalm. And David writes this: "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup runs over. Surely your goodness and your mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." One of the most powerful lines in the psalm that I just read is when David declares, when we find ourselves like we do today, in the valley of the shadow of death, that our story, our journey does not end there, that God promises to be with us, to walk with us through the valley. And so now my friend Corey is going to come and lead us in an old hymn with powerful words, singing and pleading with God for his grace, his amazing grace to be with us. If you'd like to sit and listen and reflect and pray, that's great. If you happen to know the song and would like to sing along with Corey, the words will be on the screen. Let's worship.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. And when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun.
Some of Matt's family and friends are here with us today and are going to come forward to share with us their memories of witness to Matt's life. Because part of the reason we are here today is indeed to celebrate Matt's life and to thank God for the gift that Matt was and is and will always be for us. So if you're going to share, I'd invite you to go ahead and make your way forward now at this time and join me.
So I've been out here this week, and it's been amazing how everybody's come together and how many stories there are about Matthew, and it's just, I don't even know how I'm going to touch on what a beautiful person he was in the few minutes I have to be up here. I put some stuff down because I knew once I got up here I wouldn't be able to put words together. So I've met... Wow. Matt was a genuine and good-hearted person who was loved by so many. Again, as I look around this room, I just see how many lives that he's touched. And as most of you know, Matt liked to talk. Matt could talk about everything and anything. And the kind of the unique thing about him is, you meet people that like to talk, but it's not often that they know what they're talking about. And he, for as young as he was, he did. And he could carry on conversations with, as you look through the photos with, the kids loved him, the seniors loved him. I mean, there was even a photo of him, with Michael's grandma, drinking a shot. He knew how to connect. I mean, he really did. He connected with everybody. And, and if you were talking about music, Matt, oh my gosh, he knew music that, the artists in the band, they were already, long gone before he was even born, and he knew so much about them. One of the other things about Matt and just how he connected was that he had the ability to just meet someone and just connect. Like, you could meet Matt, and you felt like you knew Matt, and you loved Matt. And after 4th of July last year, my husband and I, we spent a lot of time with him when we were out here last year too. And we were on the drive home, and he was talking about, Jen's brother, he's grown into a good guy, he's a good kid. And, we were just really proud of how great Matt was doing. And my husband goes, but he can talk, man, that kid, he can talk. And we even made a joke. We were talking about the movie, The Wedding Crashers. And we joked and thought, Matt could have done that. He could have gone anywhere, not known anybody, crashed a wedding, and next thing you knew, he'd be invited to, like, the family's brunch or something in the Hamptons. That was just Matt. But, some of the things, some of the many things that made Matt a special person was, he just, the way he looked at life. He lived life. And, we've come across, letters and things that friends have written him. And I looked at Jen and I said, you need to step up. You've never written me a letter like that. He just so much love poured towards Matt. And, he did. He saw the good in everybody. And I can honestly say that every person in this room is a better person for having known him. I don't know, but I can honestly say after, some of these stories that I've heard, there's some things I'm never going to look at the same and never think of the same. For instance, a sombrero. A sombrero will never be just a sombrero again. As I order drive-through, I will definitely think of Matt and form my words. And anytime I see a jazz cymbal or hear the Beatles, I'm definitely going to be thinking of Matt. And thank you all for sharing the celebration of his life. So, thank you.
Hello. I guess the first and most important word that I think described Matt was passion. I think not only did he live a life of passion, but I think he fed off the passion of those around him, only to give it back to even more people around him. When I met Matt, we had similar interests in music. I met him at Carrabba's and worked with him for a while and started playing quite a bit of music with him. But then he actually started taking an interest in everything I was doing. I used to teach people, or I still do, I teach people bonsai, and I always thought that in a way, like I was Matt's teacher, that I was maybe a mentor to him. And with his passing, it's only become abundantly clear that it was in fact Matt who was the teacher. Matt who drove me to be a better person. I realized that the joys that I felt in pursuing my goals were really only at the excitement of sharing it with him, at waiting till he came over and showing him what I'd learned. I'd say there's a lot of music that I wouldn't have never gotten into if it wasn't for him. Music is a huge part of my life now. And honestly, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for Matt. So unfortunately, I know it was supposed to be all stories and whatnot, but I just wanted to say that, and just hopefully you guys would take some solace in knowing that. So.
It's a good thing I know everybody pretty much here, so I can be comfortable. I'm going to say a few words on my feelings for Matt, but his dear friend James was not able to be here today. It broke his heart, and he asked me to speak on his behalf as well. Family, Saragos, Matt and I always had a gift-giving competition with the kids. We always had to outdo each other. He was so angry when Jen let me get Alyssa a hamster. He said, "How do I compete with a hamster?" I couldn't tell you what Matt gave her that year, and I don't think she could tell you either, because the hamster stole the show. But it went on every year. I have a lot of great stories, a lot of funny stories. I loved being around him. He was a happy person. He made me happy. Everything he did made me smile. I'm going to go on and read what James asked me to read for him. Are we FaceTiming with him? Anybody? Linda? Okay. Well, good. If I don't pronounce a word properly, I won't get in trouble. I'll start this by saying Matt told me about the day he met James. And James pretended he was German on the bus because he didn't want to talk to anybody. And I had to start the story out like this because James goes on to talk about when he met Matt. When I met Matt on the bus one day while heading into work, he saw my Carrabba's uniform and came and sat down beside me. There was no formality with him, no social awkwardness. He just smiled and started talking. It was as easy as that for him to just pick someone out of the blue and strike up a conversation. He had a magnetic personality. You just couldn't help but be drawn to him. It was more than his energy or his humor. It was his honesty and his character. There was no room for pretense with him, no polish, no veneer, no civility to hide behind. There was no editing or filtering. There was just Matt. What you saw was what you got. And that honesty of character drew people to relax and allow his infectious energy to become their own. He bridged gaps on his way. It didn't matter what your social background was, who you wanted for president, or what kind of music you liked. He transcended all of that. He drew older people to him, younger people to him, professionals, musicians, Elvis impersonators, and even the occasion cheap Canadian, which would be James. Smiles came easier when Matt was around. So did inspiration. In a way, he was a creative Red Bull. He inspired some to play guitar, others to write, and still others to create music on their computers. Matt drove people to pursue whatever creative medium spoke to them. He never allowed that excuse that sometimes life gets in the way to hold anyone back. He was always waiting for the next line, the next song, the next chapter. Matt chose to focus on the good, both in people and in life. With that outlook, prejudice and negativity faded into the distant horizon of his concerns. If he was broke and overdrawn in his bank account, then it only strengthened his notion that happiness was the only currency that truly mattered in life. He did not judge. It never occurred to him to do so. The tough words coming up, I hope I pronounce it right. If someone wore a shirt from the 80s, then it didn't make it anachronism. Did I get that right? It made them unique. If someone was lashing out at those around him, then to Matt, it only meant they needed a friend. What a way to look at life. How could anyone not want to be more like Matt? Knowing Matt has changed me, just as I'm sure he's changed everyone here. Personally, my outlook on life has softened since knowing him. He was a dreamer, the best kind of person, and inspired by those around him to dream just like him. Even now, with all this grief, I celebrate the times I spent with him just as much as I mourn his loss. Taking his worldview as my own, I choose not to sift through the bitter ashes, but rather to dream of dreamers lost.
If Matt was here, Matt would want to talk. So everybody that knows Matt knows that he shared quite a bit of himself. And so he wrote, many of you probably know that he wrote his graduation speech. Well, we found that, and so I'm actually going to share that. So in a sense, he is here to speak. So, well, the day has come at last, graduation. As I look at all of you, I see a lot of smiling faces, teachers, parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, and of course, the biggest smiles of all, the ones of the faces of our graduating class of '07. Oh man, have I been waiting for this day to arrive. But to be honest, just 1 year ago, I didn't believe it possible for me to be standing here with you today. I was doing poorly in school, I was making bad decisions, and overall felt I had little control over my life until one day my attitude on things changed. Charles Swindoll once said, "Life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you react to it," and I couldn't agree more. For example, when I crashed my friend's car in a ditch, I could have thought about how mad he was or how much money I owed him. But instead I thought, well, nobody was hurt, or at least I'll be a safe driver when I get my own car, which will be the next car I drive, considering no one else will let me touch theirs. I know we all have bad things happen throughout our lives, but one trick I found useful in dealing with these events is being able to connect that event to positive things that never would have taken place otherwise. Like, if you received an F in freshman language arts, but later thought about how you never would have taken that wonderful speech class senior year if you had passed freshman year. If you are able to successfully do this, I promise it will make a difference. If you have a goal, instead of looking at the end of the road, which can seem impossible at times, just look 10 feet ahead of you and get there first. Just keep taking baby steps, and eventually the end of the road won't look so distant. After today, many of you plan to attend college in the fall or travel the country, or maybe you already have a career lined up. But for a lot of you, including myself, we have no idea what to do with our lives. And the best advice I can give is, no matter what the odds or how impossible something may seem, never give up on your journey to success. I believe success means having the courage, determination, and will to become the person you want to be. And even though I don't personally know too many of you, I know each and every one of you can accomplish your goals as long as you never settle for anything less, and I mean anything less. Don't wait until everything is just right. It will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. So what? Get started now, and with each step you take, you will grow stronger and stronger and more skilled, more and more self-confident, and as you inch closer to attaining these things necessary for you to be happy and content with your life, whether it be your own business, a family, a big house, seeing the wonders of the world, or simply performing in front of a live audience. Whatever those things may be, no matter how far out of reach they may seem, just know if you really want it deep down inside and you continue to put one foot in front of the other, eventually you will get what you're looking for. But as far as today goes, don't worry about any of that stuff. There will be time for that later. No, today just be proud of what you have accomplished, because I know I am. So tonight, go with family and friends to celebrate. Celebrate for what you have done so far, and celebrate for everything you have yet to do. I would like to congratulate my classmates on a job well done. Wherever life takes you, just remember to never give up. Always stay true to yourself. And the most important thing of all, have fun with it. Because we only live once. So go live it the best you can.
The story I got to say is actually from the speech that she just spoke of. I went to high school with Matt. I actually lived with him 5-6 years. And it's crazy. You live with someone, but yet you've never had a fight with him. We never fought. We lived in the same room. It was a little room, and we never fought once. We got along. He's such an easygoing guy. If any of you guys know Mo, he's just incredibly nice. But I remember our senior year in high school, we switched schools from an alternative to go to a regular high school to get a real high school diploma. And we used to take the bus for an hour just to get to the high school we wanted to. And by the last term, me and Matty, we probably wasn't going to graduate. We had to take 9 classes. He was so determined. I was too. We both just went to night school 4 days a week for 2 different classes. And we just kept at it the whole time, but his grades were just phenomenal. It was crazy. He basically got a 4.0 that year. I think he got a 3.9 or something, maybe a 4 point. But he got straight A's in basically all of his classes. I was struggling, but Mo, he would get up, we would make it to class, and he was just a genius guy. I don't know. He was not only musically inclined, just like everything he did, whether he was talking to you, his body language was just incredible. Like he had the memory. He had like such a good memory. I couldn't believe it. He would be telling me stories with a bunch of other people, and I would be included in it, but I wouldn't even really remember the story. His memory was just insane. His whole perspective on life brought me and probably my friend Cook and many others. It just brought us to just made us a lot more happy. It kind of gave us this perspective we can do what we want. The more we try, the harder we try, we can get what we want to get. He convinced me and Keelan to switch high schools. We were all in it together. He just had so much faith in everybody. And he would do anything for you in the drop of a dime. He was the best guy I've ever known, and I'm honored to have known him. And that's about it. I don't know. I kind of winged it, but thank you.
You did great.
I've worked with Matt for almost 4 years, and I've never met anybody like Matty before in my life. Someone who always had a smile on his face. Someone who would go to the end of the world to help any person, not just his family and his friends, but total strangers. He loved his family more than any man ever could. He loved his friends like they were his other family. I've never encountered a single soul who didn't immediately love him. He could make every person around him feel comfortable, welcomed, and completely at ease. He was one of the most incredibly talented people I've ever known. He always was overjoyed to display that talent for anyone who wanted to see it. He thrived on it. He lived to make others happy. He was the most selfless, generous, caring man in the world. I'm a better person because of him. I'm a better person because he helped to bring that out of me. I am blessed to have known him, and I was blessed by his friendship. One of my very favorite authors, and someone who I constantly encourage Matt to read books by, is F. Scott Fitzgerald. So to end with a quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald, he had one of those rare smiles with a quality of eternal reassurance in it that you may only come across 4 or 5 times in life. It faced the world for an instant and then concentrated on you with an irresistible prejudice in your favor. He understood you just as you wanted to be understood and believed in you as you would like to believe in yourself. I love you, Matt.
God, I wish I had the confidence Mo had. So excuse me a little bit, stage fright a little bit, but I want to start out by saying Keelan, CV, he was another brother of ours. He couldn't make it. Also Pasty, Troy Turner, he couldn't make it here as well. And I know they're here in our hearts. I want to start by saying I've known of Mo for about 13 years, but I never thought I'd actually become his friend. I always looked up to him and Jeremy. I'm a couple years younger, by the way, and I always looked up to these guys as like the cool kids, because we're from Oregon, College Grove, Oregon, Eugene area. It's a small town. It's not like around here at all. And growing up, going to school, looking up to the older kids, I wanted to be just like them. And Mo has his long hair. Most people don't know, but he had the hair down to here. And I thought he was so cool. And anyways, I remember one day they built the skate park finally in our town, and I went up to him and I got the balls to talk to him. And we slowly started hanging out, and I ended up meeting Jeremy, Keelan, and we clicked like that. We were best friends from day one. We had one of the best days of my life on the first day. you know. And anyways, I wanted to say, if it wasn't for Mo and Jeremy and me looking up to you guys, I would have never graduated high school. I met you guys at an alternative school, and because you guys, Mo talked you guys going into a real high school and doing all that, and Matt's speech and all that, that inspired me, because I was still going to Al's, I was still going to alternative school. I didn't switch with you guys. The bus ride was too far for me. I don't like waking up early. Anyways, they inspired me after graduating to actually go to College Grove High School. They didn't like College Grove High School. They were actually willing to take the bus all the way to Eugene just to not go to College Grove High School. Anyways, I decided to transfer to College Grove High School, and I ended up getting straight A's, scholarships, the works. I got the principal's award, $100 check. That was pretty cool. No one would have thought. They even transcripted my transcript. They laminated it just to show what's possible, because when I went to Al's, I didn't really go. I got zeros. And they inspired me to go to high school, and I ended up graduating and getting my real diploma. And I wanted to thank you guys for that. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Jeremy. And Keelan, who's not here. But also, he inspired me to play guitar. And he brought out the musical talent in me. And that was one of the best times I've ever had with him. It's just sitting there. Almost every day we kicked it. Just beatboxing, playing guitar. Anything. He could hop on any instrument and just play. And he taught me how to do that. And I want to thank you for that. My music touched me. I don't know how much it touches you. I remember that car crash that they talked about earlier. I was in the car. He had his long hair. I'm in the back seat, right? Matt was driving, first time driving. I was like, ooh, kind of scary. Luckily, I had my seatbelt. But we're on our way back to town because we're out at the lake, and we have a lake like a couple miles out from our little town. And we're on our way back, and the guy that owned the car is in the front seat, and I'm in the back seat. And I was like, take a right, and he's like, take a left. And Mallory got confused and went straight and jumped over this thing. And during this all, his hair is going back, and he's like, oh shit. I'm in the back, like, really, I'm gonna die, like, you know. But we all were okay, and the car wasn't okay. But we were okay, and that's what matters. And I wanted to do this for Mo. You guys can all join if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. I'm gonna go na 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 na, but instead, you know, Mo or Matt O. So na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Matt, oh, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey, 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 Matt, oh. Thank you, guys.
I thought you said you had stage fright.
I want to thank everybody for coming here today. My son was very special, and he was my baby. But if love could build a stairway to heaven. It would have been built here today. And I want to thank all of you for giving me that, and for Matt being part of his life. I love you all. I love you all. And Matt, I love you. And that stairway has been built for you, Matt. We're coming.
Matt continues to live in you. And especially for those of you who have lost someone you loved before, you know how precious and how important these memories and these stories become now that you have of Matt. And I would encourage you, whether you stood up here on the stage or not, that one of the most healing things that you can do is to continue to remember Matt, who he was and who he remains to be to you. The stories, whether they're funny, they're sad, whether you can tell them in church or whether you're saving them for the reception after. I get it. These stories are important. So yesterday, I sat down with Kathy and Jennifer. Michael was there, so was Maggie. And I asked them to share with me who Matt was to them, and they described to me, just like all of you have heard over and over and over, how Matt was the kind of person who could strike up a conversation with just about anybody because he loved just about everybody. They said that he loved to talk with people, even if it was a complete stranger. It didn't matter. Maybe that was a challenge for him, was to try to get a stranger to open up and talk. In fact, he loved to talk so much, it might be good that he's not here to talk at his own funeral, because from what I heard, we might be here for hours if Matt was here. Yes, Matt loved just about everybody. And I bet that's why you're here today, isn't it? To celebrate his life and honor his memory because of the impact that Matt had on your life, because of the way that he loved you. I heard from Jennifer and Michael how it also extended to his family, including the little ones, how he loved being an uncle to their children, how he was especially proud of his precious niece and nephew who live close by, Alyssa and Brandon, and how they and others wouldn't hesitate to trust their children to his care. And that's actually saying a lot. I don't know how many 23, 24-year-old guys you know. I would not hire one of them to babysit my 3 kids, but that says a lot about who Matt was. I heard about how Matt loved understanding the stars in the night sky. He's one of these guys who knew like constellations, and I wish I knew that, stuff like that. A passion apparently he picked up from his grandfather when he was a boy. And I heard, of course, just as we've been reminded, how Matt loved music, but not like you and I love music. Like Matt, it was part of who he was, including one of my favorite bands of all time, the Beatles. But whether it was jazz fest or classic rock or just playing the guitar or the harmonica or whatever, Matt loved going to concerts, maybe even pretending like he was going to start a band himself. I don't know. Unfortunately, though, Matt apparently also loved WrestleMania. That's a different sermon for a different day. But did anyone ever tell him that it's not real? Did you ever break that? Talk to me after. We'll have some pastoral counseling. Yes, Matt loved life itself. He loved just about everybody he met. And today, my job here, my role here with you, is just to share with you, just for a moment, about the God of life who, kind of like Matt, loves everybody who has ever lived, including Matt, including you and me. So that even in the midst of your grief today, I want you to know that you are deeply loved by the one who has the power to hold you together even when it feels like everything is falling apart. I wish that I could answer all of your questions. Because on a day like today, let's be honest, we come to God, whether we believe that God even exists or not, we come to God full of difficult questions. Questions like these: why did this happen to Matt? Why did he pass away so tragically and suddenly, right when it sounds like things were starting to really head in a good direction for him? Why does a 24-year-old with so much promise, so much potential, giving a valedictorian speech to his high school class, why does he have his life cut so short? Why does Matt's mom have to bury her baby today? Something that a parent should never have to do. Why? I don't know the answer to these questions. So on a day like today, when our hearts are broken with grief and our minds are full of questions that can't be answered on this side of eternity, we turn to God, to the only one we can turn to today, to the one who created everything seen and unseen, including Matt, including you and me, who has the power to hold us together when everything seems like it's falling apart. The scriptures tell a story, it's in John chapter 11, about what happened one day. One of Jesus' closest friends was named Lazarus. Lazarus got sick all of a sudden. He died so quickly that Jesus couldn't even get there in time to see his friend before his friend passed away. Lazarus had two sisters, Mary and Martha. And on that day, their world fell apart. So no wonder Martha says this. This is verse 21. Jesus shows up. This is what Martha says. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Martha's words echo through eternity. I think they're even ringing in the room right now with us, because we're in the same spot that Martha was. We're waiting and asking God, where are you? And thankfully, that's not the end of the story. I want you to listen to what happens next. It's the shortest verse in the entire Bible. Some of you know what it is. It's only 2 words long. Do you know it? It's John 11, verse 35. Jesus wept. It's the shortest verse in the Bible. Why did Jesus cry? Jesus weeps for the same reason that we do today, because his heart aches for Martha and Mary, just as Jesus' heart aches for you and me today. This is a God who understands your grief, who cares deeply for you. It's a God who gets it. I heard a story once about a 4-year-old kid at an elderly neighbor next door. The neighbor lost his wife, and he was a widower. One day, the boy saw the man crying on his front porch, so he went over, he climbed right up in the old man's lap, and he sat there. The boy's mom watched this. So later, when he came home, the boy's mom asked him, "What did you say to Mr. Jones?" And the kid replied, "Nothing, Mom. I just helped him cry." Jesus was helping Martha and Mary cry as his heart ached for them. And sometimes that's actually the greatest gift that we can give to our friends and to our family in their sorrow and grief, is we can help them cry. We can help each other cry. You know, Jesus also weeps for another reason. He's concerned and deeply troubled of this grip that death still has on them and on us. Because remember, according to the Bible, death was never a part of God's plan. Death was not a part of his good plan. So listen to what happens next in verse 43. Jesus called out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." A stilled heart began to beat again. Wrapped eyes popped open. Wooden fingers began moving, and a mummied man in a tomb sat up, and then the dead man came out. And Jesus said this, "Take off his grave clothes and let him go." See, Jesus wept with us, but that's also not the end of the story. Then Jesus won the victory for us over death itself. To believe that Jesus Christ is actually the resurrection and the life is to believe that death is not the end for us. He invites you and me into a new life, an unending life where the worst day of your life is not the last day of your life. So friends, on a day like today, may you experience Jesus weeping with you and aching with you in your grief. And may you find hope and new life in Jesus' victory over the grave. To declare this when things are good, like on Easter Sunday we did right here at the church a couple of weeks ago, that's one thing. But even more important, I found in my own life, when I've been sitting in the chairs that you're sitting in right now, is to cling to this when the day is dark and we have no more tears left in us to cry because we've cried ourselves out. Apparently, over the last few weeks, I heard that Matt fell in love with a song called "Dancing in Heaven." The lyrics are powerful. I'm going to share them with you. There will be dancing in heaven on the night before the longest day, a celebration in rhythm. At this time, it was always this way. Sing the song of the ages, giving voice on this beautiful night. Feed the flame in high places, from the earth to the giver of light. My hope for you today is that the giver of light, the giver of life, the giver of peace, the giver of love itself will draw you to himself so that you can know him as your lover, as the healer, as the Savior of your soul, until the day when you discover for yourself, like Matt already has, what it's like to be dancing in heaven. Amen. So I shared with you that one of Matt's favorite bands is the Beatles, mine too. So I'm going to ask Corey to come back as in a moment we get ready to finish our service here. I want you to hear these words as a prayer. Let's listen and worship.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. So let it be, and let it be, let it be, and let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. Yes, there will be an answer, let it be. So let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Oh, there will be an answer, let it be. Sing that again. Let it be, yeah, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. So let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Yeah, let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Oh, let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Amen.
Would you pray with me? Matt's body now we commit to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Jesus, our friend, you wept at the grave of Lazarus. You weep with us today because you know all our sorrows. See our tears, bind up the wounds of our hearts. And in this mystery of pain and grief, please draw us closer to each other and draw closer to us. Raise us from death into life. And please, in your mercy, grant that with Matt, who has now passed beyond this life into the life to come, we may also come to live with you and with everyone whom we love in our Father's house. And everyone agreed with this prayer and said, Amen. Ask Shannon if you'll come with some instructions for us as we get ready to dismiss. I invite you to remain where you're seated. In a moment, we're going to allow the family to leave first.